Hi, I'm Carla Cannon, and my third and final child is just wrapping up her second grade year, and I wanted to share with you some of my favorite curriculum that I've used with my kids, and hopefully a few nuggets of wisdom since my oldest child is coming close to the high school years, and I feel like I just have a different perspective than I did when it was my oldest in second grade. If you have watched my first grade curriculum choices video, you will see a lot of similarities in second grade. In our homeschool, first grade and second grade use a lot of the same things because we've just found things that we like and work for us. So let's talk first about keeping it simple. We keep it pretty simple in the younger years and then build as they get older. So I really focus on language arts and math, and I don't really use any kind of set curriculum for social studies and science other than lots of just really wonderful living books. Lots of books, picture books, nonfiction, chapter books, you name it. So that's kind of how we approach things. For language arts in second grade, there are a combination of things that really work well for us. First of all, and I'm not going to go into detail because I have a whole other video on it, is right behind me you will see the All About Reading Level 2. You can look for the link below that talks about that. I love All About Reading. I'm a huge fan of the program, and so that was her learning to read program. Being the third child, she's been very motivated to read because her older siblings can read, and so she really enjoyed it. And we did a few other reading things, not because we had to, just because she likes doing school. I know it's a little different with younger kids that sometimes than your oldest. She sees her older siblings doing school, and so that feels like the grown-up thing to do. So we did All About Reading, and then I love the Explode the Code books. So she worked through the book 3 of Explode the Code, which goes along really, really nicely with the level 2 of All About Reading, and she's currently working through the level 4 Explode the Code book, and she likes it, so we'll probably work on that over the summer. And I have, once again, another video that I have just on Explode the Code, so you can get the link for that as well. So that was her kind of learning to read aspect of it. And then we have lots and lots of wonderful readers. I love the Usborne Beginning Reader series, and we own those. So she had lots of books that she would read. And then we get a lot of books from the library. I'm going to link a list from Sarah Mackenzie from the Read Aloud Revival about books for emerging readers. And there are some fantastic ones. We really like Mr. Putter and Tabby, Frog and Toad. There's just a whole plethora of books. Some we own, some we get from the library. And so be sure to check out that, because as they're learning to read, you want to really give them books that they're going to enjoy so they stay motivated. So I think that's a really important part of it, and some will stick and some won't, and that's okay. So that's kind of the learning to read portion of it, the All About Reading and the Explode the Code. So in addition to the Explode the Code books, we also really like the Beyond the Code, and this has a story and then a little bit of writing in it. Once again, you do not need to do all 3 of these things. This is a child who likes doing schoolwork, and she does it quickly. So we've used lots of things, but any of these, are really excellent. And then for writing, we do a lot of copywork. So copywork is really powerful, and it's really the foundation of our writing in grades K1 and 2. Through copywork, I feel like it covers grammar, it covers handwriting, and it is just a really powerful tool. So what do you use for copywork? Really, you could use anything. You could have your child dictate you a sentence and you could write it and they could copy that. It could be, a sentence about something that they're learning about, tornadoes or something like that. Or if you don't want to have to think about it, you could use something like the spelling you see, and then there's copywork within this. So my daughter does, in grade 2 about 1 to 2 sentences a day. At the end of the year, we've been doing, maybe 2 pages. So that is an example of her copywork. And then in spelling, you see it has some words that they have dictated them to them as well. The reason that I think it's so great is because I've learned through experience that spending a lot of time teaching a young child grammar rules, about apostrophes, any of that, it's just not going to stick when they're little, because the fact is they don't care. It doesn't have any meaning to them. And so what I want them to know by the end of 2nd grade is, capitals, when to use those, more or less, periods, question marks. And that is kind of it, to be honest, because when they get older, it is just so easy and so quick to teach them something. And so that is how we approach it. And grammar is really important to me, and my older children do well with it, but we are gentle with it in the early years, and then we hit it a little harder as they get older. And that's not to say that we don't talk about things as they come up. We talk about the apostrophe when they're learning about contractions, and we talk about, capitalizing, days of the week, months of the year. So we hit on those things, but we just talk about it and then move on, because what it's doing is it's adding that layer of understanding. And if they don't get it the first time or the 5th time, it's okay. It'll be something that they'll pick up on easily when they're older, and it's more relevant to them. The last little piece of our language arts program in grade 2 is I just try to have them do a few writing things depending on the child that's relevant to them. So maybe it's writing in a birthday card, or, writing a letter to grandma. And if they want to do it in their own best way, perfect. If they are not comfortable with that and they want to have you write it and then they copy it, that's great too. So we just try to add in a few things that are kind of fun and show them that writing has a purpose and it's worth knowing how to do. My biggest piece of advice when it comes to language arts at this age is read to your child. Find books that they are interested in and enjoy. For boys, it's often nonfiction things that they really, they can learn about something, sharks, tornadoes, airplanes, and so read those to them. Go to Read Aloud Revival and find novels that are good for that age group of kids. Just instill that love of reading in your child. That is a huge goal for me, because when they love books and they associate them with fun and good memories, they're just going to be that much more motivated to want to read on their own. Math, we keep short, sweet, and simple in 2nd grade. I love the online program Math Seeds. So we start that around, kindergarten, a little earlier than kindergarten, and it has lessons through to the end of 3rd grade. So we just kind of work through those, and then, and they're very good. My kids have all really liked it, and they've done very well. And you can just be confident that the concepts that they're teaching are what they need to know in each of those grades. You can Google the scope and sequence of Math Seeds, and it'll tell you, kind of what lessons range falls into the different grades. And also Math Seeds online has worksheets that you can print that goes along with each lesson. Now, we certainly don't do all of them, but every once in a while, if there's something that I feel is important that they're learning or they've gotten stuck on, I'll hop on and print out a worksheet or two that goes along with their math lesson. Really, that's mostly the spine of our math. I like the Horizon math book. You could use any math book at this age. This is the grade 1, but it's book 2 because Horizons is so advanced. So we do grade 1, book 1 in 1st grade, and then we do some of the pages from the grade 2 book in 2nd grade. I am very selective which ones we do. I just want to make sure that, in 2nd grade, they're forming their numbers properly and they know how to write and, adding, subtracting, that kind of stuff, know how to write those out and not just do it on the computer. So we pick, just a few selection of pages from here, certainly not all of them. And then my daughter really wanted to do real math, and to her that's teaching textbooks because that's what her big siblings do. And so we did go ahead and start the third grade teaching textbooks in January. And it does start off very easy, and so she does that just a couple times a week, and then she'll carry on with the grade 3 teaching textbooks into her third grade year. And that's worked really well for our kids. When it comes to any other subjects in second grade, social studies, science, that kind of thing, truly we're just literature based. There are great things out there, like we've done Sunlight some years and we've really enjoyed that. This year, when you do something once, sometimes you want something new for a later child. So this year we've been doing some of the units from Gather Round Homeschool. I think we've done about 4 of those and we really enjoyed those sometimes. So we just, find a topic that either the one child's interested in or we do as a family, and we read books and do projects based around those. I do really like Gather Round. So I thought I'd share an example. She's been doing pages from early elementary. She started off in early reader, and then we thought that the early elementary was a better fit for her. And so if she does her copywork in Gather Round, that counts as her copywork for that day. So then we wouldn't do this. So a couple pages that she's done here, I think they're very, very nicely age appropriate. And so we learned, we did the lesson, and then she dictated to me and I wrote it, and then she copied it below. And then I read this to probably her and her brother, and then she answered the question on her own. So that is another example of how we kind of, tie in language arts with something else that we're learning about. I hope that gives you some ideas. Remember, do what works for you and your child. Some kids, like my daughter, really enjoy doing schooly type things. Other kids do not, and that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. You just have to do things consistently in short bursts. That's my biggest advice. Do it often, but in little bursts, and it will add up over the course of a year. So enjoy your kids, and if there are things that are not sticking at this age, it's okay. I know from having older kids that if it doesn't stick now, they will get it later, and you don't have to worry if they don't understand all the rules for an apostrophe or whatever it may be. It's something that you can teach them in 5 minutes in a year or 2. So have fun, read lots of books, spend time outside, and just enjoy your kids.